on, all you wild dragon enthusiasts out there? It's your two favorite uncles back here for Cinephellas. I'm Brooks, and that is.
And I'm done. And we're Brooks and Dunn, the legendary country band. So what's going on, everybody? We're just joking around, of course. I'm Uncle Henry Hill, and that's my good mate over there, Logan Myers, of course. And you know us, and we've been back before to talk about more Game of Thrones. And it leads us back into Westeros again tonight because the second season of House of the Dragon has just wrapped up, and we're back to share our thoughts about the entire second season of House of the Dragon.
War is coming, and neither of us may win.
That's right, these two wild dragon
Hmm.
slayers are back talking about season two that just finished on Sunday. 8 episode run for season two. Of course, we're back into the world we're familiar with, Game of Thrones. Takes place a few hundred years before Game of Thrones. House Targaryen and all the ancestors of Daenerys, and of course, this has to do with bloodshed and war. And that's exactly where they pick up with the season. The first few episodes were really good. A season two, it's really setting up, there's some characters, some new faces along the way, war, dragons, and much, much more. But really, the first few episodes really had my attention, and then throughout the season, it kind of lost me.
Yeah, they started the season really solid, really building up from the events that happened at the end of the first season, getting to know the characters more. We see Rhaenyra Targaryen really, maturing this season and like becoming the queen. Like, whereas the first season it was her when she was younger, and then it, changed actresses. So getting to deal with that change, and then finally it feels like her character was fully fleshed out this season, becoming this great queen of the dragons, basically, like much like Daenerys from Game of Thrones. Rhaenyra here, she's strong, but she finds herself needing a lot of help this season, with her ancestors, her brothers, basically, looking to take over and take up the mantle and use the dragons to their advantage. And she's going to have to, come up with an army to be able to defeat all the foes that want to take over and rule the Iron Throne.
That's right. And that's, if we remember from last season, Viserys, it was played by Paddy Considine, essentially passes away. He goes through some shit. His young daughter, Rhaenyra, takes over as a queen. And this is really fleshing out her character this season and her becoming like a leader, I would say, and trying to set up war. And this has to do with Alicent, her good friend, of course, played by Olivia Cook on the other side, and her bastard kids that are really setting up the villains, the bad guys in this season, and setting up some really horrible, horrible things that take place with some characters, especially young children.
But yeah, we saw Paddy Considine. He was one of my favorite parts of the first season, and it felt like this season was really missing him. I was missing his character. He brought so much, experience, like a veteran actor coming over. I knew him from, several other movies and along the years, so he really brought something, some sort of veteran leadership to the show, I'd say, like a veteran actor there. I thought this season was missing that with his character, gone and mostly in the background, although he did show up this season, in a different form, we'll say, and some flashbacks and whatnot. But I feel like this season really was about Rhaenyra, and I thought Emma Darcy, really showed what she could do. She's been a theater actor growing up all her life. So, this season, with her and Olivia Cook, those two leads, they're really great together. They portrayed their friendship really well in the first season, and then now you see them as foes, and you can see there's that bond in between them. But now that they're like going up against each other, you can see like they're two like formidable foes that are basically going at each other where they started out as friends. So there's a really cool relationship and dynamic there between those characters. And like we were mentioned before, Rhaenyra, with her being the queen, she has enemies everywhere, coming from within her family, coming from the outside. And what she has that she can use to her advantage seemingly is the dragons, but there's also other dragon riders that we learn about this season. We learn that, not what we thought to begin with. We thought only certain people could ride the dragons. But we found out that there's more, and this season, especially the last couple episodes, really explain, how they do that, what's necessary for that, and what bond is formed. And I must say, the dragons this season looked phenomenal. They've never looked better. They've really had a chance over the years of Game of Thrones now to really work on the effects and the dragon riding and everything. And it's really phenomenal and looks better than any movie or anything. This is the best dragon that we've ever seen on screen.
With the productions, design, and CGI in the show, they spent a ton of money on this. But yeah, you're right. Visual effects look amazing. All the dragons that pop up in this are horrifying. Come a long ways since the first season of Game of Thrones and the other previous seasons. Just the effects are realistic, and it's very cool seeing these characters ride them and the way they breathe fire and burn down entire towns and burn people alive, and they're just crazy creatures, and they really bring those in this season to let them shine, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of dragon fire this season, mostly with those, trying to find the riders for them and trying to find that bond. And a lot of people get burnt alive, trying to do that and become the one that's going to be able to ride the dragon. I must say that this season, the pace of it dragged on in several spots. There'd be a really good episode, and then it seemed like there'd be like 1, 2, 3 episodes where it'd kind of drag on. Then you get a big episode, and then it would kind of be another letdown. And by the end of the season, which was a shortened season, the second season was only 8 episodes compared to the first season's 10. They had less time to do things here, and it felt like they were really like just building up to something. And by the time that final episode aired, everybody was expecting this huge battle, but they kind of leave off like right before that. Whereas I think it would have been smarter for them to probably have the penultimate episode, last week's episode, be the finale, and then just start up season 3 with this episode and just have it one big season with the war that's going to be happening, instead of like just teasing us and showing us all the lead into it and then kind of cutting off. And, we have a year wait now. So pacing issues, things like that kind of drove me crazy this year. I was expecting a lot more. It felt like they really held back. There's a couple of really great episodes in here, but for the most part, it was dragging for me. And that's why I dock a couple points off this season.
Yeah, a lot of silly mistakes I noticed. I think some of the writing wasn't as strong this season. A few characters, they didn't know what to do with them. Matt Smith being one, I felt like in some episodes you didn't really know where he was kind of going, and I thought he was one of the best parts of the show, especially the first season, the first part of this season. But towards the end, I don't know. I think it was a lot of the writing. Even Alicent too, played by Olivia Cook. Huge fan of hers. I didn't really care for her character as much this season. I didn't think she was as strong, for the writing of the character at least. But Rhaenyra really is the character that shines. Fleshing out her character, where she's going, being a leader and a queen was really great. The two annoying kids, Aegon and Aemond, were really annoying, but they're like the new Joffrey character, I guess, in some ways. But something really bad happens to one brother, and then the other brother takes over, and yeah, he's pretty badass on the dragon, setting up some really cool scenes there, and a guy that you're not going to like, and he's only going to get worse as the show goes on.
Yeah, they really set up some great villains here, some great work in that area. Like you mentioned, Matt Smith, though, where he kind of got hypnotized there by the witch and started going crazy. Yeah, they drug that over a couple episodes, and it felt like it really didn't end up going anywhere. And when him and Rhaenyra finally met up at the end, it kind of felt forced. There should have been some infighting there between the two of them after what happened in those few episodes. Instead, we got kind of like a little reunion, a few lines of dialogue, and then like all of a sudden, like he was just, oh, now I'm with Rhaenyra now. It just felt kind of forced. After all that time, they should have spent some time like building that up and letting that play out. But it felt like they're just kind of, settled it in one episode, which was, a little unbelievable for me. So yeah, overall, this season wasn't terrible by any means. It was just a slower pace. The writing wasn't as solid and didn't flow as well as the first season. They condensed the season shorter here. And usually when you condense it, it would make it more exciting. But this felt like they were just, it was just kind of a filler season overall leading into this third season here where everything's supposed to pop off with the big war and everything. So just for that alone, I'm going to say that I'm going to give House of the Dragon season 2. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 Rhaenyra Targaryen blonde hair pieces.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that finale, but I didn't like any of it. There was one scene having to do with some visions that Damon's getting. It's the future, visions in the future, essentially, of the Game of Thrones. Not spoiling anything was the best part, and that was just a little part of the episode. Everything else felt wasted. It all led up to nothing. It's leading up to the next season of War, which they were establishing all season and all 8 episodes, but very underwhelming. The internet's ripping it apart. The finale of the season. Every outlet I've noticed, just people just tearing it apart. Yeah, didn't care for it. As a whole, didn't really love it as much as the first season. I remember last season, and of course, Game of Thrones being super excited for Sunday nights, and this season, it just wasn't feeling it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's on. I'll check it out, and nodded off a few times in a few episodes, but yeah, just not as impressive. That being said, I'm gonna give season 2 of House of the Dragon, currently streaming on Max. I'm also gonna give it a 3 out of 5 Tywin Lannister hair pieces.
We want to hear from you guys what you guys thought of that second season. Were you as disappointed as we were? It all felt like it was going to, pop off there, but nothing ever happened. So I guess we're going to have to wait another year and hopefully season 3 makes up for this season 2 misfire. So yeah, please let us know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching us. Make sure to click like and subscribe as always, and make sure to check out our other reviews on our YouTube channel. We're also doing the Fellas giveaway every month. We're about to announce the winner for our Twister giveaway, and make sure to check out our website, cinephellas.com, and all our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and X, for all the latest and greatest in TV, movie news and reviews.
So that's it for these 2 wild Lannisters. Signing out from Cinephellas Studios. Until next time, I'm Logan Myers. It's my good mate over there, Henry Hill.
Cheers.